Hello everyone, and welcome to Big South Fork National River and Recreation Area. My name is Ranger Jordan Hughett, and I'm a park guide here at Big South Fork. And today I'm standing at the historic Oscar Blevins Farm in the Bandy Creek area on the Tennessee side of the park. I'm standing beside the 1870s log cabin where Oscar had been born and where his family had lived. There's the stone chimney here on the end. Here beside the chimney we have a guitar and a banjo in a case. And then behind me on the other side we have some trees in fall colors, a split rail fence, and a pasture. And this farm is really a good representation of how farms would have looked for the local families between 1920 and 1950. The people who lived in the Big South Fork area, they brought the music that their ancestors had known in England, Ireland, and Scotland with them when they came across the ocean, when they crossed the mountains. And they used music to entertain, and they also used it to educate future generations, used it to teach lessons, impart little lessons in their children and their grandchildren. And they used it to try to understand the wildlife that they were experiencing here in the area. And probably the most misunderstood section of wildlife we have in the park is snakes. Now, there are several varieties of snakes in the park, and only two are venomous: timber rattlesnakes and copperheads. Now, if you ever decide to visit Big South Fork, don't let the presence of snakes alarm you, because there's ways that you can keep safe. If you ever see a snake on a hiking trail, just be sure that you keep a far enough distance away from it, about 6 or 8 feet, and don't provoke a snake, because unless you know how to identify them, how will you know if the snake is poisonous or not? Another thing that you can do is, if you're ever camping in Big South Fork and you go out at night from your camper to the bathhouse, always wear closed-toed shoes. Always wear boots or shoes that cover your toes, that cover your feet, because snakes are cold-blooded, which means they can't regulate their own body temperature. So in the summertime, when it gets dark, when it gets chilly, they crawl out on the pavement that goes through the campgrounds, that goes through the roads in the park. And that's what they use to warm themselves up. And people often will walk through the campground, and be sure you take a flashlight, and you have to, as you're walking, be sure that you're using your flashlight, that you're not going to step on a snake, and then that you wear closed-toed shoes, that in case you did step on a snake, it would bite your shoe and not bite your foot. And the people in the Big South Fork area had a song to teach this lesson. It was a ballad, which means a story song, a song that tells a story. The oldest of those songs go back to the 16 and 1700s from England, Ireland, and Scotland. There were a few written here in the United States. This one is actually from Massachusetts, I believe, and it's from the early 1800s. It's called Springfield Mountain, and I'm grabbing my banjo right now. And Springfield Mountain tells the story of a gentleman who had an encounter with a snake. I just hope that he was wearing his closed-toed shoes. On a summer's day, a man did go way down in the meadow for to mow. Toot-it-a-row, toot-it-a-ray, toot-it-a-row-ray. When he had come half round the field, a poison serpent bit him on the heel. Toot-it-a-row, toot-it-a-ray, toot-it-a-row-ray. When he lay down upon the ground, well, he rolled his eyes and he looked all around. Toot-it-a-row, toot-it-a-ray, toot-it-a-row-ray. And now his sister's talking to him, and she says, "Oh, brother dear, what made you go way down in the meadow for to mow? Toot-it-a-row, toot-it-a-ray, toot-it-a-row-ray. Oh, sister dear, I'll have you know, it was Daddy's lot of American ballads, a lot of American story songs, they have a moral to the story. And here's the moral to this story. Young people along this morning take, and don't get bit by a big black snake. Toot-it-a-ray, 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 toot-it-a-ray. I hope that you've enjoyed your journey through the music and the wildlife and the history of Big South Fork. Thank you very much.